Hey, 4C divers! Thank you for tuning in tonight. Sorry we're a few minutes late. We just had some technical difficulties with the sound, but hopefully you guys can hear us now and everybody is tuning in. If you are able to comment, go ahead and in the comment section, tell us hello, tell us where you're listening in from. We want to know where you are listening in from, and also, it's going to allow me to figure out who is watching and who I need to put on the raffle at the end of the presentation. So make sure that you say hello to us so that I can put your name in the random name picker at the end of the presentation. So also, if you're enjoying tonight's presentation, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, that smiley face, or that heart emoji. Just let us know that you really enjoy the topic or the presenter. And obviously, you can always comment in the comment section to let us know if you have a question. And if we can't answer it right away, we'll answer it at the end of the presentation. So we have a great presentation for you guys tonight. But before we start, just a little housekeeping. It's November, and if you haven't decorated for Christmas yet, like the rest of the world is doing, yeah, I guess we're all behind. I don't know, but it's Give Thanks to Our Oceans Month here at 4C because we like to stop and celebrate Thanksgiving. So what we're thankful for is clean oceans. Because as divers, you guys are very pivotal to making sure that our oceans here locally stay clean and also globally. So how can you do that? There's lots of things. Watching Facebook Lives like the presentation tonight, going over to our website and checking out some of our presentations we had in the past. We have a new blog that's up there. And also, if you haven't done it yet, and if you're a registered voter in the state of Florida, there are petitions for a clean water movement in the state of Florida, and they need those signed by the end of this month because they need to present that to our governor. And the only way to sign that petition is to either go into 4C and get an application, sign it, and then we'll mail it in for you, or you can do it yourself. And I'll send you guys the link in the comment section and you can print it out yourself and mail it in. But guys, it's super critical that we make sure that the state of Florida stays clean with their waters, because if there's not healthy waters, then there's not healthy reefs, there's not healthy fish and other wildlife that lives in the ocean. So if you guys can help us out this month by getting that done, we would really appreciate it. All right, so Give Thanks to Your Oceans Month. I've actually never had this topic or this guest presenter before, and I'm really excited because I was just, I'm the social media girl. I'm Nicole, if you haven't met me yet. And I was cruising along on the Facebook page, and it popped up that this page that the presenter is the creator of came up, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. So I started following it and looking and seeing what she was up to. And I just thought the message that she's going to be giving tonight is very important, especially for us divers, because we're able to help out and remove fishing gear during our dives. So she's going to talk about all the types of ways to do that and some of her cleanups that she's done and why it's important to do these cleanups. So Lana, are you ready?
I am.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let you take over.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. Like Nicole said, we can give back to the oceans. The dive sites give us so much, and so it's nice to give back and do some cleaning up. And there's so much trash and fishing gear in the ocean. It's out of sight, out of mind most of the time for most people. And but I started noticing fishing gear and other trash a number of years ago, and I started picking it up and documenting it. And it's just really important to pick up. And I created a page on Facebook called Fishing Gear Cleanup. And just to help raise awareness of this out of sight, out of mind problem. And my sister helped encourage me to start this page to reach a larger audience with my documentation of what I pick up. And so, yeah, I started about around in 2018. I started noticing fishing gear while I was diving and started picking it up. Then around 2019, I started documenting it, taking pictures of it. And there's just so much of it. And so, yeah, like I said, most of the debris is out of sight, out of mind. And I just want to raise awareness because it is an extensive problem. The litter, it's just more than what most people realize. It's pretty bad along reefs, wrecks, all over the place. So when I scuba dive, that's when I collect most of it. And I use various collection items. I started with like old peanut butter jars that I drilled some drain holes in and attached the cap so that I wouldn't lose the cap underwater. And that works really great for sharp fish hooks. And so when they're safely in the jar, nothing's gonna hurt you with the sharp hook. So here's my jar on the left, one of them, and on the right, underwater, filled with fishing gear. And I still use the jars, but I also use a really nice mesh bag that a friend gave to me, and I find that it's a little bit easier. Here's a picture of the mesh bag. It has Velcro opening, and it's a very, very tight mesh. So fish hooks generally don't poke through it. It's very sturdy. And I've loaded these with fish hooks and have never had a problem. So this is sometimes easier than unscrewing the lid of a jar. I just open the Velcro opening. And so this is what I use mostly now. But jars are really good too. And I know a number of people who now use jars as well. So yeah, I always carry these with me on every single dive. Don't want to be without it.
Show them the cutting shears that you use. The cutting shears.
Oh yeah. So I carry 3 types of cutting tools with me. The one that I use the most are medical shears. These are just so handy to cut fishing line. And this one has this little clip, and I can clip it to me on a line, and it's just fantastic. I also carry a conventional diving knife with me, and I also carry one of those Trilobite line cutters. But again, this is what I use the most. I found this is the easiest. So I do a lot of cutting of line because sometimes line gets wrapped around things, and which brings me to a very important point that I want to make is sometimes not all trash should be picked up. And the reason is sometimes you can cause more damage than the good you do by picking it up. For example, if fishing line is tightly wound around delicate corals and sponges, you don't want to yank that line up because you'll damage even further the corals and sponges. So just be really, really careful. Don't pull the line. What I do in those cases is I cut as much as I can carefully. But if it's really embedded in coral or sponges, I just, there's some of it I just have to leave. And it's sad, but I don't want to cause even further damage. So we do the best that we can. And also some trash like cans, jars, bottles, be very careful about picking those up, because a lot of times those items become habitat for animals. And if some little animal has made a home in a jar or a bottle, we don't want to disturb that and bring that up. So carefully inspect anything before you actually pick it up. And so yeah, some trash we just have to leave. So I just wanted to make that point. So I bring up all kinds of items, lots and lots of fishing line, wire, lures and hooks, an incredible number of lead weights. I've got probably well over 100 pounds of lead weights, the lead sinkers, and little pieces of lobster traps, especially up here in New England. There's bits and pieces of lobster traps everywhere. And any other kind of trash. And these were some of my first collections from back in 2019 and 20 in New England. So I started in Sebago Lake picking up fishing gear. And so a lot of this is from the lake and some from the ocean from back then. Some of my very first collections. And then I started collecting more and more. Here's a huge collection from just June through November of 2021. There's lots and lots of line and many lures and pieces of lobster traps and lead weights. And this was from 2022. This is actually from one dive in Nova Scotia, Canada. And it was a wharf where there's just, we didn't know we would be doing a cleanup dive there. We were just going to check out the dive site. I had never been before, and it quickly became a cleanup dive. And like, I didn't even really get a chance to take pictures of any fish or anything because there was so much to clean up. And then I do a lot of diving also on the reefs and wrecks in Florida. And as you can see, a huge collection from just a few months time, just over a 4-month period from the end of 2021 to March of 2022. And then the next year, same thing, Florida reefs and wrecks. Some of the wrecks are just draped in fishing line. And it's so sad, but there's just an incredible amount. So it's so good when we get to clean up. And luckily I have some nice dive buddies who do a lot of cleanup with me. And so this happens to be just my collection. They pick up a lot as well. So you can imagine how much is out there. And the Blue Heron Bridge. I'm a regular at the Blue Heron Bridge when I'm in Florida. And this is from a few months in 2021, everything that I collected, including fishing poles and wrappers of fishing gear and tons of weights and giant lures. And then here's another time period from the Blue Heron Bridge over just a few months. Look at all those hooks and all those weights and all that line. In another time period from the Blue Heron Bridge, over a 4-month period. And this picture is actually missing some of the lead weights. When I took this picture, I forgot that I had an entire container of lead weights that I forgot to include in the picture. So there were even more lead weights for this collection, for this time period. This is from one day of diving up here in Maine in Sebago Lake this year. Some buddies and I went, and they collected. I went with 2 other buddies, and they collected just as much as I did. So We found an area of the lake where there's just this fishing line everywhere. So we just went out, we did 2 dives and just collected fishing gear. So it's amazing that this is just from one day, and this is just my collection. So you can imagine if it's put together with my buddy's collection, it's quite a bit. And just imagine all the lakes in the United States where people fish. So it's a huge problem. And here I took these pictures at the Blue Heron Bridge with little animals on the lead sinkers. So lead is not a good thing to have in our environment. And here these animals are just surrounded by these lead sinkers. There's just, I find them every time I dive at the bridge. There's never a dive where I don't find them at the bridge, which is very sad. So, and I've seen a lot of animals affected by fishing gear, a lot. I've rescued some. I've untangled crabs who were hopelessly tangled in fishing line. I have removed hooks from the faces of fish that approached me, actually, amazingly, and I was able to reach out and grab the trailing line and remove the hooks. And I've seen dead animals who were tangled in fishing line, very sad. I've seen animals like that barracuda there swimming with a lure, a horrible lure. And I've seen that a number of times. And I wish I could help them all, but some I just can't get to. So if we can, as much as we can pick up, every piece picked up is one less piece that could hurt an animal. And after all, we're down there diving to see the animals. So we definitely want to help protect them. And all this debris takes, it doesn't decompose. It takes a long, long time. So we just really, really need to clean that up. And if you pick up fishing gear while diving, there are lots of places where you can take it to recycle. There are bins located around piers and boat ramps and marinas and tackle shops. So it would be great. And that's a great way to dispose of what you pick up because some of it can be recycled and made into other things. And if you have any questions, that would be great. And please follow my page. It's simply called Fishing Gear Cleanup. And I've got albums there documenting all my collections from New England and Canada and also Florida. And I also have a whole album of my observations of the animals that have been affected by this litter. And there's lots there, and I'm still adding to it. So every time I dive, I add to this fishing gear cleanup page to document what I do.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the comment section. And I actually have a few questions. So there was a picture that I can actually go back to it. All right, this one here. These big, like black looking ball things, are these like a weight? Is that
yeah, they're called downriggers.
Okay.
And they're very, very heavy.
Yeah, I can imagine. So like, how do you compensate your buoyancy so that you're not like weighed down by all this stuff when you're
I have to add air to compensate. So yeah, when I pick those up, it really weighs me down quite a bit.
You ever find that you come across something and it's just way too big or way too heavy to pick up? And do you ever like maybe go back out and see if you can rig it somehow? Do you ever use like lift bags to bring anything up?
I haven't. I've got dive buddies who have. And luckily I've never come across anything that was like too big to pick up. I've been known to just carry stuff in my hand. Once my mesh bag or my jar gets full, I'm still picking stuff up, and I've been known to carry big clumps of stuff in my hands throughout the whole dive. And even things like I once found a big boot underwater at the Blue Heron Bridge, and I found it early in the dive. And of course, I checked it carefully for any animals who might be inside. But I carried that boot with me in my hand the entire dive, and that was like over a 2-hour dive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes I just carry stuff in my hand.
It's hard. I'm notorious. A lot of the boat captains know I will carry 2 safety sausages on me, signaling tubes, because I like to rig them to an anchor and shoot them to the surface. And they're like, really, Nicole? And a couple of times I've actually they've gone where they're too heavy, and then the safety sausages like burst at the seams, and then it comes back down on me, and I'm like, great. So I got to rig it up again with another one. So definitely want to make sure that if you're going to do heavy rigging, that you get the right size lift bag, and also probably take a course. The course that you'd want to take is called Search and Recovery, where they teach you how to rig properly, whether it's what size lift bag to use for the items, and also teaches you how to tie the knots and make it sure that you can safely take it to the surface, and while controlling your buoyancy and the item's buoyancy. So those are that's a great course to take, and 4C offers those courses. So if you're interested in that, but also buoyancy is a huge one, because you don't want to be kicking the reef when you're cleaning up the dive. So what is your dive position when you're diving? Like, what does your body look like? Are you
my feet are always up, and I do the frog kick. So I try to never have my feet touch the bottom. My fins are always up, and I try to move very slowly and carefully, not to and of course not like I said, not to yank on line. Be very careful with it. Cut when necessary.
Yeah,
to try to prevent any further damage to the bottom.
And there's times that I've actually seen where you have to be careful, because the line will actually be through a sponge, like one of the big barrel sponges, and you don't want to break off pieces of that sponge. But it's also really sad to see like how it can encrust so fast, and how the organism can grow around that item. And so
I've seen that many times.
Yeah. So it's key. A lot of people think, and I know you mentioned this earlier, but you cut the line in sections and don't do a full pull and keep going and pull and keep going, because you never know what it's attached to and how much more damage you can make.
Right. Yeah, definitely cutting in sections and being just very careful.
And just, another thing to mention, if you're listening and if you're into, say, spearfishing lionfish, you have one of those zookeeper containers that you put the lionfish in. Those are fantastic to put fishing lures and hooks and stuff in, because they're such a hard plastic that they're not going to come through and hit you in the leg or in the side or anything. So you can kind of double dip on cleaning up the fishing gear, but you can also clean up lionfish, and you're double dipping on helping the health of the reefs and the wrecks here in Florida. So another thing too, at 4C, we do sell the mesh bags that she was talking about. We have various sizes of those mesh bags. Yeah. So if you're interested in getting those, and we also have those medical cutting shears, and also in the picture above we have the knife cutting tool. So we have all that if you are interested in getting that gear and wanting to get out there and clean up the reefs and the wrecks, or at the Blue Heron Bridge. So what is one of the weirdest things you've ever collected on a dive?
Oh, oh, I once found a little toy diver, an
Oh.
actual scuba diver, and it was, I think, a very old toy, little plastic toy with moving arms and moving legs, because the diver had a double hose regulator. So I think, yeah, I found that found a diver while diving, a
Found
little
a diver
toy.
while diving. That's so funny. At the Blue Heron Bridge last year around this time, I took a student out, and the visibility was like, oh boy, it was not good. But this person, I had to get them certified, and because they were going on vacation for Thanksgiving, and I was like, okay, I'm just letting you know there's not going to be much biz. So we did a lot of great work on our compass and our our buoyancy control, and we were kind of sifting through the sand to like look for some like things like shells and rocks, and we found Santa's sleigh under the Blue Heron Bridge. It was all of like this big, guys. It was teeny tiny little, like maybe the size of like an Apple AirPod container. And he was so stoked that he still to this day, he has it sitting on his dashboard of his car as like a momentum of his first ever dive. He got to get a Santa sleigh toy. But yes, we've seen a lot of cool things, or interesting things. I've cleaned up a telephone, like one of those like ones that you used to mount to the wall, like when the from we don't have home phones. Most people don't have home phones anymore. So it was really weird to see. And why would that get thrown in the ocean? No clue. We've recovered toilet seats, golf balls. I mean, there's
Oh
all
yeah,
kinds of stuff. But as far
lots
as
of golf
for
balls.
fishing, my experience is that when you get it, you have to be really careful about those hooks, you guys, because yes, they're sharp and everything, but make sure, please, go get a tetanus shot before you start playing with hooks, because they do have rust and other metal stuff that you could really get hurt with. And so just get your tetanus shot and stay up to date with that.
I
Uh,
always wear gloves.
Always with gloves. Yep.
And if somebody is really nervous about hooks, if you do use a collection jar, they're very safe inside the jar. So
Mm-hmm.
if you pick it up with a glove and put it in the jar, you're very safe from it.
And another thing I want to point out is, guys, as much as you want to clean up, but if it's not safe for you to do it, leave it.
Yeah.
You can always report it. There is cfan.org. You can report things to them. You can do all types of stuff. You can report lionfish invasions or other types of invasive fish that we can find on the reefs. You can report that, and then also you can report anything like an anchor down. So if you can't get something up, that's fine. Just try and get the boat to do a GPS mark in some of the facility and tell them, hey, I found this and I couldn't get it up because I didn't have the proper equipment to bring it up, or you just was paid. Again, don't run out of air because you're trying to get the fishing line up, right, guys? So monitor your air, monitor your dive time. Be safe when you're out there cleaning up the reefs and the wrecks. So that's
Yeah,
kind
yeah, and
of my 2 cents.
yeah, and I've had to help buddies to get untangled from fishing line because they swam right into it, and
Yeah.
it's really hard to see when it's in the water column and stretched across places.
Yep.
So
Absolutely. So, okay. So I'm going to show you guys something real quick. So let me bring in my window here. So like I said, it's Give Thanks to Your Oceans Month here at 4C. And I'm going to go ahead and hide here and bring this forward. There we go. Okay, so Give Thanks to Our Oceans Month at 4C, you guys. If you go to our website, it's the first thing you see when you go to our homepage. And it's a wealth of knowledge on this page. There's all types of cool things, like if you click here, read our blog. That's one I just created this month. It has some interesting facts and things that you should know about stuff here in Florida. So, for example, I talked to you guys about where you can, or where you can report stuff to the CFAN. That's on here. Also, where if you need to find a way to recycle that monofilament, there's the link there, and it takes you to this page here, and it's all about marine debris and where to find the bins. Okay. And then also talks about the dirty water. So that policy I was talking about that we want you guys to sign. So if you go here, there's a whole presentation that we did last year about it, but the Florida's Right to cleanwater.org. If you just click on that link there and you can get the petition, you have to be a Florida voter, registered voter, and you just have to click there. You just print this out, fill it out, and then send it in. Or you can bring it to 4C and we'll send it in for you. We do have some of these at the stores, so you can come in if you don't have a printer, and we'll get that squared away for you. But we definitely need as many possible petitions signed by the end of this month. So come on in. Also, if you shop on our website, everything on this particular page are eco-friendly items. So these bathing suits are made out of recycled plastics. The green preen wetsuits, those are, we actually did a presentation about these and how they're made. Again, recycled materials. Everything you see here, water bottles instead of using plastic water bottles to drink out of. Eco-friendly products to use on your hair, on your skin. And then also, if you go to the second page here, also the 4Ocean bracelets. You know, every time you pull, you buy one of these, it helps them pull more trash out of the oceans. And they actually have this one called the Osborne Reef bracelet, and they did a presentation with us. This one's really cool, you guys. It has a great story. If you don't know about the tires that were dropped on the reefs in Broward County because they were trying to make they were trying to build a reef to try and get animals to come in. But then a lot of the storms and hurricanes have taken those tires and they've dispersed them all across the Broward County area, across reefs, and sometimes you can find them by wrecks. And when they got dispersed, they're knocking down corals and destroying the habitat. So 4Ocean, they go out there with a crew and they go and they pull those tires out and they get rid of them. So that way they don't do any more damage. So buying one of these bracelets, that's another way to help out with that project. So like I said, it's a pretty cool landing page if you want more information about what you can do to help. And then again, I just want to circle back to the page Fishing Gear Cleanup. So this is her page. Make sure you go over there to that like button and you follow her. And if you have any pictures or videos that you want to tag her in, then she can share those and see what you're doing. And in the month of November, if you're not aware, 4C, we like to reward you guys if you do a cleanup. Right here, it says, during the month, take a photo with your ocean cleanup items, post it to your favorite social media channel, and tag 4C. Come in and get one free air fill. So guys, take advantage of that. We have the whole month to go out, clean up our oceans. Let's do our part. Let's have some fun. And that's it, guys. So thank you so much. If you have any more questions, just let us know by going to www.force-e.com and we will answer anything you have questions about. So again, thank you so much for a great presentation, Lana. We appreciate your time tonight, and I don't know how to make me the same size as you at the moment for whatever reason. I don't know what it's doing. It's going to, there we go. Okay.
There you go. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you very much. I appreciate this opportunity. I was very happy, and like to say hello.
Yeah, we hope to see you down here soon, and you're going to be doing some cleanups. So guys, stay tuned. We'll be scheduling some more cleanups, and we'll have our guest presenter come on some of those cleanups so you can meet her in person. And thank you to everybody who was watching at home, and we appreciate your time.
Yeah, I'd like to say hello to Daniela and Sarah and Rob, who made some comments. So
awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. And everybody have a nice evening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Happy diving.